you'd have to have multiple devices to test on, which I guess you could do with like Xcode or something. But
Oh,
if you were to check the model of iPhone or iPad, then you could add more stuff if the user has the screen space for it.
huh. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Well, and that's kind of where, like I said, if I was able to just make it to where there's a setup process where users can then just check what they wanted on there, and
Sure.
then it'll say, hey, if this model is only fits this many or something. Yeah, I'm just getting settled in after moving in to an apartment and stuff, and so pretty soon here I'm gonna get back to it. I think what I'll probably do is just try to rewrite SC settings as it is without Toolbox Pro, so just with like V cards and some of the actions stuff, and then kind of go from there. So,
Very cool.
but well, yeah, no, it's an honor to be chatting with you guys. It's really cool. I definitely want to do it in the future.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
Perfect. I'll
Yeah,
reach out. We'll have you on again soon. Thanks so much.
awesome.
So next, let's move on to Dante NL's shortcut here. We just get a URL, so we get to suspend.
Yeah.
So this is the shortcuts notification service. Oh yeah, I saw this one. I didn't get to play with it yet. So
Oh, looks like it's. Yeah, I think you have dark mode. It's conflicting with the
yeah,
text.
let me turn this guy off here. So here's his well-made graphics with
Sweet
mock-up.
graphics. Yeah.
Easy to view all notifications. Different notification channels. Interesting. I'm not exactly sure what we're talking about here at this point. Truly allows sending notifications. This is because this allows automatically getting notifications. All you need to do is run shortcut notification service with check as its input. You can download an example or check to see the image below. So this one involves a little bit of setup, but let's go ahead and grab it. And then let's see if it runs on Mac. Oh, I love the rich text HTML. So we can get notifications in the background instead of having to actively run a shortcut. Oop, gotta sign in. Sign in with Infinity. This is intense. So it looks like Dante NL is running his own. You're in the audience, Dante. You want to chime in here? Paging Dante. Guess not. I think I'm on my own.
I don't think he wants to join voice, but maybe text. See if he. No, I don't think so. Oh, he's typing. Maybe see what he says. Oh, he
Oh, there we
doesn't have a
go.
mic right now. That's fine.
No problem. Okay. So now I can sign in with Infinity. So Dante, are you running your own servers to power these things?
Dante says for SNS, yes. Sign in with Infinity, no.
Wow. Okay. So I'm getting signed up with Infinity. My kid had a rash. I was recording that for the doctors. Let's see. How about a green comma? That'll be my profile picture. Logged in shortcuts. Okay, that's fine. I think I'm all done here. Now I can run SNS, now that I have an Infinity thing set up. And it's going to run sign in with Infinity. Oh, this is so cool. Wow. And so this is using the sign in with Infinity auxiliary shortcut to now access my account on Infinity. And we're going to save some stuff to iCloud. Checking Dante's servers. Look at that. We got sns.dantenl.com. Wow, this is so cool.
Wow.
So I'm just sort of poking around here. I'm still not entirely sure. So is this potentially a way for me to run automation shortcuts in a non-standard way, Dante?
Oh, I see. Do you subscribe for notifications for these developers?
Yeah, so these are all different shortcuts developers. We've got Ashbit, who's maybe here with us. No, not today, but he's got some submissions. But yeah, these are all different shortcuts developers that look like they are hosting their own channels. And if I wanted to, I could create my own channel.
Interesting, yeah.
So this seems somewhat analogous to the shortcuts-based chat systems, whereas this one's mainly for announcements and notifications as opposed to creating this anonymous chat environment powered by shortcuts. Is that right? Very cool.
Very nice, yeah. I love that.
So now that I'm in here, now I've subscribed to a couple channels. And so since I just subscribed, there's no new notifications for the channels that I subscribed to, so it's just going to say no new notifications. But I assume that since I've subscribed to these channels, now there's a file sitting in iCloud that's recording the last time I checked for notifications, and so if I fire this thing up in another 2 or 3 days, it'll see that there's been notifications by Ashbit and by Procreations, etc. In the meantime, and then those will show up under read notifications. So this is really cool. And so this shortcut, I can tell just from using it that it's going to have a lot of fun things going on where we define some HTML in a text action, and then we're going to use the open web view action in order to render those. And look at that. So here we've got some base 64 images. So we got some base 64 images as text that are going to be used to show images later on in the shortcut, perhaps in the HTML windows that we see. Look at this. This is a 2020 Mac Mini with an M1. It's not entirely old. Shortcuts just sort of crawls to a very depressing speed once you've got more than a couple dozen actions in it. What is it doing? 100% CPU. There it goes. Yeah, so here we've got some base 64 images in text. The reason that you do this is because this is a way to store an image inside the shortcut. Alternatively, you would have to stick the actual image file somewhere in iCloud and then access it inside the shortcut. But this way is more transferable. It doesn't need to pop up any kind of a warning or permissions dialog for the user. And so this is a common trick that you'll see people doing. And then if we scroll down here, so here we go. Here's perhaps our startup screen. So this is just an HTML file in a text action, and then we use the make rich text from HTML. Oh, where did it go? And we use make rich text from HTML, and then that turns it into a rich text object, and now we can show the web view. And as you saw when I was playing with it, the web view was interactive. It had buttons that we could press in order to run different actions. And so I don't think this is the right one to be looking at, but if we scroll down, we might see some buttons on this one. Yeah, so here we've got some actual like JavaScript being run inside of the HTML. And so this is a really advanced shortcut development technique. You need to be familiar with HTML. You need to be familiar with JavaScript. Perhaps nowadays you just need to be very adept at using ChatGPT, and you could have it do a lot of this stuff for you if you're able to express what it is you're trying to achieve. And I think probably the most important thing about this style of development is that this shortcut, Dante didn't just start with a blank shortcut and just start adding actions, and then here we are. This process involves making little extra side shortcuts so that you can test specific functionality. So I assume that at one point he probably had a shortcut that was nothing more than these three actions, just to make sure that the HTML rendered properly and looked the way that he liked it. And then, by working with a shortcut that only has three actions, he doesn't suffer from these crazy optimization issues that the Shortcuts app has. And it becomes especially burdensome to work with large shortcuts on an iOS device, like an iPhone or something. But yeah, this is really cool. And so this shortcut exemplifies a lot of really advanced development methods that you'll see. So here he's got some CSS stuff being defined. And these are things I'm only sort of peripherally familiar with. I've learned them insofar as I needed to in order to use them in my own shortcuts. And so I haven't used a lot of this stuff outside of shortcuts development. And then, of course, when you're working with a large shortcut, it helps to do things like if you're on Mac, you can right-click on one of the actions. If it's an if or a repeat or a choose from menu, you can collapse a bunch of actions out of the screen. And this actually decreases the amount of stuff that Shortcuts needs to think about while you're scrolling through and changing things. It effectively removes these actions from the equation in a lot of ways. And so this is a great trick if you've got really large shortcuts where you've got potentially hundreds of actions inside of an if statement or inside of a repeat loop. You can just collapse it all away and make the shortcut a lot easier to look through and navigate. So this is cool. I'm not going to dig into this one too much.
This is amazing, super high-level shortcut here. Even Dante mentions how he doesn't think the shortcut is too crazy, but he can barely edit it within the app. But check this out. He didn't know you could actually minimize the actions, so a huge thank you to you for pointing that out to them. Now he knows. Yeah.
On iOS, since there's no right-click, and since they got rid of 3D Touch in their infinite wisdom, removing awesome features, what you do is you tap on the block, on the little icon that's to the left of every shortcut action, or at the top left. You tap on the icon for the action, and that brings down the equivalent of this context menu. So if you tap on the little branch indicator for an if block, you'll get the iOS version of this, which will include the collapse option.
Sweet.
And this is another cool thing about collapsing actions, that it actually, whether or not an action is collapsed, is saved to the, I think, XML file that the shortcut is eventually saved as. And so what that means is that you can have an action with, you can have a shortcut with 1,000 actions, for example, my photo collage shortcut, and you can collapse all the high-level blocks, and now it looks like there's just, maybe a few dozen actions. And then when you publish that shortcut to Routinehub, when people open it on their device, all the actions will remain collapsed. And so now you can sort of determine how the user is exposed to the internals of your shortcut.
Interesting.
And you can then place comment actions above the blocks that you've collapsed. Oh yes, automatically scroll. That's what I wanted you to do. So you can place comment actions above a collapsed block, and then in here you can put an explanation of what's going on inside of it. And so that way, if you want your shortcut to be more instructive so that someone else can learn the methods that you used and kind of build on what you've created and shared with everyone, you can control that first they see this nice paragraph form explanation of what's going on, and then they can expand the collapsed actions and actually see what's happening. And so this would be a great shortcut. You'd probably collapse it down to about 10% of the scrollable size by collapsing all the, like here's a huge one. And so like this choose from menu, there's 148 actions underneath manage your account, 153 under manage your channels, 20 under there. And so like, now it becomes much more approachable. But yeah, this is really cool. Awesome shortcut, Dante. The amount of work that went into this, I mean, hosting your own servers to power how the shortcut works, that goes, that goes above and beyond 99% of all the shortcuts that have ever been published. So really great work here. Thank you so much for contributing.
Yeah, thank you so much for showing that and going through it.
And then let's see. Let's move on to media utilities, the one that we were teasing when we first started. So this is Media Utilities by OmegaBird113. And from the Routinehub page, it looks like this is just sort of a, it's taking a bunch of functionality that's in shortcuts for being able to convert media, resize images, just handle different file types in different ways, and it's trying to make all of this stuff more approachable and accessible to a general user, which is always fun to see. It basically means that the entire shortcut is trying to tackle the absolute worst part of developing any type of software, which is coming up with a good user interface. Oh, I'm missing Omega's dev tools. And had I read this, it would have said it requires Omega dev tools. So now I will download Omega's dev tools. And also Actions, which I already have installed. So now I should be good. And I made a mistake trying to run the shortcut from inside of the open shortcut in the Shortcuts app, because that introduces some extra performance penalties when you do this on a Mac. So this is cool. So we've got image utilities. So it looks like we've got some nested menus here. And so what if I want to use some image utilities? Look at that. We can flip images. We can resize images, rotate, blur. Oh, this is awesome. So blur images, this is using one of the Actions app capabilities. It provides a bunch of awesome image actions that aren't in stock shortcuts, including remove background, getting the average color of images. Yeah, so here we've got a mix of of shortcuts and actions, image modification abilities, and ability to take information from images. So we can get the average color of an image. Here's a pretty sunrise from my backyard, littered with power lines. Now we have to give permissions to actions 300 times. And look, here is the average color of that image. Just beautiful. Such a nice gray with a hint of red, I think. Yeah, so this one here, so this shortcut, the real magic comes into how Omega Bird 113 has designed these menus. So he's got repeat blocks set up so that once you run the shortcut once, it can go through. And actually, looking at this, he's avoided having to stick the whole thing in a repeat by running the shortcut recursively. And so instead of repeating some arbitrary number of times and just going and going and going until the user quits, instead it does whatever the user wants one time, and then when it's done, it asks if you want to continue, and if you say yes, it calls itself again. And that way you go back to the beginning. And this is a way of effectively having an infinite loop built into the shortcut, at least until I assume you hit some kind of a call stack limit and all your memory runs out. But this is cool, and this is still clearly under development because he's continuing to add more and more functionality to this thing. And so this is a fun way for people to get introduced to Markdown. Yeah. Yeah, God. Unfortunately, Mac OS is turning my double hyphens into into M dashes, but I think I can use equal signs instead. What Markdown would you like to say? I think I already said that. Oh, darn. Okay, so yeah, some of the functionality is not quite there yet, but this is so cool. I mean, being able to wrap up a bunch of stuff that usually requires designing your own shortcut, wrap all of that up into an easy-to-navigate menu, and now you have a way for people to do stuff that usually requires paying for some application in the App Store. And nowadays, good for the developers, bad for users. Everything in the App Store is on a subscription basis. But this is a way of packaging up a lot of that functionality from different image editing and text editing apps in the App Store behind a free shortcut that is, presumably supported by Apple and works on Mac OS, works on iOS, works on iPad OS. The way that the menus look here on Mac OS is different from the way that it looks on iOS, and so you get these different. Usually, a huge amount of work would go into developing an app to provide this type of functionality, and instead, Omega Bird 113 has been able to package it into a shortcut in order to expose this kind of stuff to regular users. So, very good job, Omega Bird 113. Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you so much, Omega Bird, for sharing that.
Yeah, very cool.
So, because of time, let's try to go through a few more, one more from each of the developers instead of going through each of their, works. So, for example, Ashbit, let's choose one of them. I guess Chatbit, we'll go with that one.
Okay, we're going to bite off the big one.
Yeah.
So this is cool. So I haven't used this, but and surprise, surprise, we see Dante here
Nice.
utilizing another shortcut that requires a similar amount of work to his notification shortcut. So Chatbit is it's a chat app that's built entirely using shortcuts. So let's see. I might have to do some setup here to get it going. Sign up. see Wilson Co. Let's see. Haha, masked passwords. You shall not pass. Okay, well now you all know my chatbit password, but I'm going to change it. Oh, look, now you still know it. So cool, that's very minimal setup. You click sign up, you put in a username, you put in a password, and now it is opening up the chatbit data. And it looks like what this is doing, we're just going to skip update checking for now. I love that it asks you if you want to enable update checking in a way that doesn't require, setting some numerical value from 0 to 1 inside of the shortcut. So this is cool. So here we're in chatbit. I want to view messages. Downloaded the icon for channel chatbit request. So it's showing me some notifications here as it does stuff. It's letting me know that it's downloading. So this is on my other screen. It's letting me know that it's downloading a bunch of different images for different channels, which is cool. This is what Jay Pashalk was talking about, making vCard menus dynamically, where instead of having text actions with a bunch of base 64 stuff, it is downloading the images from, I don't know how to say it, Imager, I think. And then it's converting all of those to base 64 dynamically in order to give us this awesome looking list of channels. So let's just hop in Omega Bird 113's shortcuts channels and let him know that we reviewed his shortcut. And it's taken this thing a little bit to run. Most of this is because it's our first run of the shortcut. And so we got Ashbit and Omega Bird 113 hashing it out. And it opened this up inside of a quick look. Oops. It opened this up inside, oh gosh, inside of a quick look view. And so it went ahead and compiled this as rich text. And once I dismiss that, it'll give me the option to type something into the channel. Now I can send a message. And yeah, a lot of this stuff, if you use chatbit regularly, it will run faster than it is right here. This is mostly because I'm running it for the first time, so it's having to download images and write files to my iCloud. Okay, so I can see here it's having to download images for channels every time. So there's some feedback. Some feedback for Ashbit might be that if we could download them once, cache them in your iCloud directory, then we wouldn't have to go through this process each time you wanted to send a message or view messages. There we go. So we're going to send a message to Omega Birds. We reviewed your great work. Oh wait, I don't have to put who it's from. It'll say who it's from because it's a chat window. There, now we've sent this. And so if I had to guess the way that this is working, we're going to do this one more time so we can see what I wrote. And then if you guys can see my notification center up here, you can see all the notifications coming in. So we're gonna open up the Omega Bird 113 channel once more so we can see the message that I just sent. And if I had to guess, the way that this is working is every channel is basically a folder on Ashbit's server full of JSON files for each message, or perhaps a folder for all the channels with one JSON file per channel, where it's got all the messages stored inside of that JSON file. So now we're going to open up Omega Bird's channel, and look at this. T. Wilson Co. at 8:56 p.m. That's an interesting timestamp considering it's 1:57 my time, 3:57 Eastern time. But you know, maybe it's 8:57 somewhere. And so it says, "Hey Omega Bird, we reviewed your media utility shortcut using the Routinehub or during the Routinehub review session today. Great work." And so, very cool stuff. And look, Dante's in here too. Dante, you clever guy. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. So that's ChatBit. So there's going to be a lot of the same stuff that was happening inside of SC settings and shortcuts and inside of the notification shortcut notification service. A lot of that same stuff's going to be going on inside of ChatBit. So likely a very instructional shortcut if you're interested in seeing how to do vCard menus, because these are fantastic looking menus. If you're interested in seeing how to utilize iCloud storage for global variable and file storage and storage of shortcut configuration for the user. It'll also be very instructional for how to parse through JSON data, which is really easy in shortcuts because you can just turn the JSON string into a dictionary using, for instance, the get dictionary from input action. And so really awesome work, Ashbit. This is incredible. Cool. I think we have, so it's already at the end of the hour. Should we wrap it up?
Want to do one more?
Yeah, we can squeeze one more in here.
Squeeze one more in here. Let's see. So many good ones.
Let's see what these ones are.
Yeah, let's see what these are. Yeah.
We got Icon Maker. That's awesome. So some of these I can just sort of speculate about what they're doing. And Icon Maker, I've played with it a little bit. This one is it's wrapping up the image editing capabilities of shortcuts through all the various image related actions, and it's allowing you to overlay text on an image in order to create an icon. You can round the images of the icon, and the whole point is to make nice looking icons so that way, if you save a shortcut to the home screen, you're able to specify a custom image function as the icon of the shortcut. And so this one is allowing you to make that custom image using an image from your photo library with text overlaid on top, or to just, as you can see in these images, to start with a nice looking, or actually these are images that he had in his photo library, but you can start with raw solid colors and work from there. So it's a really fun shortcut for anyone who's interested in getting sort of that jailbroken feeling of custom icons for their apps. And then the idea would be that if you wanted, for example, a custom icon to open up like Facebook or something, you would make a shortcut whose only action is opening the Facebook app. And now you save that shortcut to the home screen, and you can specify a custom icon, and now you effectively have replaced the Facebook icon with one of your choosing, and now you can remove the Facebook app from your home screen and instead use this shortcut to open Facebook with your custom icon in place. We've got AI weather. This is cool. So this one's basically using Shortcut's ability to fetch weather forecast information. And then it's going to have ChatGPT. And we can see here that it's utilizing the ChatGPT app. And then it's having ChatGPT take the list of very unapproachable weather condition data, and it's parsing that and turning it into a nice paragraph form, natural language description of what the weather's going to be, which is really cool. I've done similar shortcuts to this. I have one that uses Google Gemini to do the same thing. It's one of the fun uses of large language models is the ability to take a list of very robotic data and turn it into natural sounding language. So great work there, Smoke Slate.
Cool.
Beat the Bank Online. This is a game. Very cool. Not a whole lot in the descriptions. But if you're interested in seeing what a game built entirely using shortcuts looks like, this would be a good place to start. I guess if I had to guess, it's using the Gizmo pack, which I think is like a widget. Or no, this is just an alternative to Actions and Toolbox Pro, right? So this is, I don't know, maybe it's like a stock market simulator? I'm not sure. Multi-threaded spammer. Yeah, this one's fun. I wish Smoke Slate was here with us because I wanted to ask a question about this. Maybe I'll drop a note in the feedback, get some clarification on what exactly he means by multi-threaded, since Shortcut doesn't offer any type of multi-threading capability.
Very cool.
And then we only got 2 left, so I can just go through these real quick. Shortcut Hub is really cool. So inside of Shortcuts, you can use there's some actions to fetch a list of all the other shortcuts on your device. And so what this is trying to do is he's trying to provide quick access to run any of your shortcuts without having to open the Shortcuts app first. And so you can just stick a single app on your home screen to run Shortcut Hub, and then it'll present you with a list of all your shortcuts. Or you could stick it in a widget on your lock screen or in your notifications center, and now it'll pop up as a standalone thing that you can access without having to unlock your phone, because many shortcuts have functionality that doesn't require you to unlock your phone. And so this is a really useful way of sort of adding an additional layer of abstraction to the ability to run shortcuts. And then, last but not least, we've got Turret's Article Summarizer. Oh, that's fun. So I wonder how this is working. I'm going to grab this real quick because I am so curious.
Maybe it's using AI?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep. It requires the ChatGPT app.
Sweet.
And so this is cool. This is a great example of the type of shortcut that a more typical shortcuts user is going to develop. So it's only 6 actions, 5 since this top one's not really an action. And so all it's doing is it's checking that the type of shortcut is in fact an article. And actually it doesn't do anything with that type check. So it's still under development, I assume. But it uses some of the built-in shortcuts capability to extract an article from a URL. And once it gets the article, it's using ChatGPT to translate it to the language of their choice, which is Dutch in this case. And then he's having it translate the body of the article and summarize it using ChatGPT. And then it just shows you. So this is normally where the ChatGPT action would run. It's not supported on Mac OS, so it just says unknown action. and then it shows you the summary in Quick Look. So that's very cool. One piece of feedback might just be that since very often ChatGPT's output will utilize Markdown formatting, he could stick a get rich text from Markdown after the ChatGPT action, and then show that rich text in the Quick Look. And now, if there's any bulleted lists or enumerated lists, they will be properly indented. And if it has any headings or subheadings, those will be shown using larger fonts of heavier weights. And so you'll get a nicer looking rendered output from that. But very cool. Thank you for the contribution, Turret. And look at that. We sort of got through the whole list.
We powered through them all. Amazing. There was a lot of submissions this time around, and I'm very happy to see that. So I hope for even more next time. And oh man, T. Wilson Co., thank you so much for hopping in here and for your expertise and looking at all of these shortcuts.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for putting this together. And a big thanks again for creating this community in the first place. I had a question. So, Chris, are you the father of Routinehub?
There is a grandfather, if you're gonna ask it that way.
Okay, so you took it over after the progenitor decided to move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, that's right. And a bit about me. I've been doing web development for many years. I fell in love with shortcuts. I found this community and decided that we need to double down and start introducing new forms of community engagement. So Holloway Roberts, shout out, has been very active with Discord in general, and he's felt that doing a live session such as this could be a great contribution. I agreed, and it sounds like the people here, hopefully you all found value as well.
Now, I certainly enjoyed it. Let's see what else is going on in the voice text.
T. Wilson, you are a natural. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. I see a bright radio future for you, and if you're interested, let me know.
Yeah, for sure. One thing, like I remember watching for years and years, it seemed like the whatever shortcuts community actually exists, it's kind of hard to tell. Some of the shortcuts have tens of millions of downloads, and it's like, geez, there's certainly not that many active people in the community. But insofar as there is a shortcuts community, it seems like it was stagnating for several years, and so it's really exciting to see you bringing this back. I would love to have something similar happen with the Share Shortcuts website, because its developer packed in a bunch of really high-level functionality into the website, and then in the meantime, he seems to have just dropped off the face of the earth. It would be really cool, perhaps, to somehow consolidate Routinehub with Share Shortcuts, because a lot of developers, myself included, what I'll do is I'll publish primarily on Routinehub, but then I'll have to go and repeat the process on Share Shortcuts, just so that everything has more visibility.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I mean, if anyone in this community knows who that other developer is, feel free to DM me, let me know. And I definitely agree that Shortcuts had its ups and downs, and primarily Apple updates are a big reason why there's lulls. At the same time, I feel that within the Routinehub community, we're trying. We absolutely think that the talent and the amount of creativity you see in a shortcut is unparalleled. Case in point, the session itself. And I am certainly committed to figuring out how we can keep fostering that even further. So please DM me at any time. If you don't have my direct DM access on Discord, please contact Holloway Roberts or @SymbolMe or add me as a friend. And happy to hear what everybody else is interested in, either knowing more about or just sending feedback.